In this episode, we're talking about a mix of highly anticipated new indie titles, as well as some passion projects created by the tiniest of teams. This and more on Indie Game Arcade. Welcome back to Indie Game Arcade, a podcast that deep dives into the latest and greatest indie games. I'm your small-time sommelier of indie games. My name's Chris.
And I'm your adorable, woolly cult leader, Joseph. I was like, how am I going to piece this together?
Yeah, I like that. You are an adorable little cult leader, you know?
Not woolly, necessarily. But
no. That would have worked for me. I'm pretty woolly.
Yeah.
But I
have long hair.
Yeah.
But only on top.
And you'll be wearing a lot of wool this week because of like the big Arctic blast that we're getting right now. So
yeah, the 3 days that Texas gets like severely cold weather. But then that is like going to be, 18 degrees, just like somewhere sub digits. 20, but over, still double digits. But then you were telling me, which is shocking to me, please, like tell me how much minus or like including wind chill, like how cold it is today.
Right now, as of recording, negative 47 for me.
That doesn't sound real.
Without the wind chill, it's negative 21. So
I know you told me before, like there was a time when it was colder than the surface of Mars or something.
There was one day it hit like negative 64 here. That was like the coldest I've ever experienced. And there was like a local news thing saying that it was colder at that point than like some part of Mars like that day. So it was just like, wow. All right. Why do I live here? What a bad idea. I might as well just be on Mars.
It's like, do you really live there at that point?
Yeah.
You're just kind of, and then you had to walk to work or something in that weather?
Yes, I did. I had to walk to work that day, which was pretty awful. I was mostly covered with everything and I was able to we have a lot of skywalks here, thankfully. If you haven't been in the north, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but just picture like a bunch of hallways that connect buildings and stuff, but like elevated, like in the sky that go over the top of streets and stuff. And those are like heated and stuff. But there were like several blocks in between some buildings that I had to be outside. So like I was just wrapped up as much as I could, like as many layers as I could. And then the only thing really that was exposed was my eyes. And I do remember like when I would blink, every once in a while my eyes would get stuck. So that was interesting.
Because your tears are freezing.
Oh. Yeah, that was not fun. So I don't recommend it.
Yeah, so I only say that because like we are essentially doom prepping down here for the 2 days of cold we're going to get. And
18.
You live it.
To me, like it hits 18 here and we're like, oh, what a nice sunny day.
It's like shorts.
We don't even need our
coats. Yeah.
Like seriously, I would be like I have a specific coat I wear right now and I'd be like, oh man, I can just put on my hoodie now. That'd be great if it was 18 degrees. It would feel so good. I don't even have to warm up the car now.
Wow. Yeah. It just, you've told me many times, but it shocks me every year.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I live in the dumbest possible place for a human being to live. So yeah.
Oh,
anyways, hey, speaking of places where humans can't or shouldn't live, let's start talking about some of these games. And the first one I have on my docket is Mochi-O, or Memories in Orbit.
Oh, yeah.
Game start!
This is one I've been wanting to play. I just didn't have the time this week. So I'm really curious to hear what you thought of it.
Yeah, we got sent a key for this one. So I got to play it. I actually got to play it like a week before it got released. But I didn't get like super far in it, but enough to really experience a lot of like the first kind of like area. And man, it is really cool. First of all, this is one that you're going to get really into. I think you're going to love this a lot. A lot of people are definitely comparing this to sort of a mix of like Silksong and Ori and the Blind Forest. I was also saying, to me, just like from the atmosphere and some of the kind of like story notes and stuff, it was reminding me of Greece a little bit, just in the idea of, one, the kind of the art style of everything, especially like the backgrounds, how they're all like really hand drawn and sort of watercolor in that way, and they are gorgeous. You also like, you are this tiny little robot guy that wakes up and you don't know pretty much anything. Like, you don't know really where you are or who you are. And that's kind of like the whole Memories in Orbit thing, is like you're in this sort of derelict vessel and everything's kind of like ruined. Like all these other little robots are around and they're just trashed, like not operative. Every once in a while you'll find some that are working, and just barely. And you're trying to figure out like what happened and also like what your purpose is and who you are. So like a few NPCs will sort of guide you along as far as like where you need to go, what you need to do. But for the most part, it really is kind of like a, explore and see where you end up and what you can access and what you can't access yet, because you'll run into like a lot of locked doors. And you won't know where the stuff is that you need to unlock it yet. So it's a lot of like exploration. And I really liked that part of it. And also the idea that there's a lot of secret paths and stuff that are really kind of conducive to you being this tiny little robot. So like sometimes when there's like locked doors and stuff, maybe you'll do some platforming and you'll see like a broken pipe or something up high. And you're like, I wonder, is that something I can fit in? And then like you get up there and you can, and then you find out that will take you to like another part that was like, blocked or something before. And it's like doing that experimenting and exploration with the levels and stuff has been pretty rewarding and pretty fun. The combat is very, very fluid. I think for that reason, that's going to be something you're going to love.
I know sometimes like that's what makes these bounce off for you. How did it feel to you? Did the combat feel like, I don't know, fair or was it overly challenging? Or I guess I don't know how to put it, because like it feels good. Tough combat like in Silksong and whatnot, but I don't know like what you would compare it to.
I'll say the bosses are tough for sure. This is one where like if I wanted to, complete the game, like it's going to take some practice for me for sure. And especially because I think the hardest part of the game is the health regeneration is pretty much non-existent. Like you're not going to have stuff to like heal in a fight or anything. So it's like if you are damaged before you get into like a boss fight or something, like you just are, and like maybe you go into that boss fight and you get hit once and you're done. So like you have to be way more careful, I feel like, than you are in most of these games. Because like at least starting out, you really only have like, you can only really take like 3 hits and then you're dead. And I know that from other reviews and stuff, there are certain areas and stuff you'll get into where they do this thing of like, it's sort of like an event within whatever part of the vessel and stuff that you're in, where like something is going wrong. You'll figure out what it is. This is like based on story cues and stuff. But your health will get reduced down even more, but so will the health of everything else in that area. So like even the bosses and the enemies and stuff will also take a hit in their health. But it also just makes everything way more desperate and way more tense, So it's really interesting in that way. But your movement is very, very smooth. And I feel like you're just very fast as well. And like, I don't know if you've seen any of the gameplay footage, but like, so you're kind of fighting with like the hair which, I mean, I'm calling it hair. It's obviously not hair because you're like a little robot dude.
Yeah, so
but
it's like,
kind of like these
wires that kind of resembles hair.
Yeah, strands of like these lights or wires or something, and that's what you use for pretty much everything. It becomes like an aid for traversal stuff, for gripping certain things as you progress a little bit and get more stuff to use, and for your attacks and everything. One thing I like too is the idea of like you are modding yourself. So for like getting upgrades and stuff, instead of like a relic sort of system like you would see in other things. I mean, you are getting quote unquote relics, but you're really getting these mods, and it's like depending on like how you are going, you can buy these essentially like slots. Like you have an allotted amount of slots for your character, and like when you get like a mod or an upgrade, it's going to take up so many, and it's like the more beneficial ones will take up more of those slots. So you might get a really good one and you're like, crap, I don't have enough slots for this yet. So you'll either need to wait and try to find like a vendor to buy something to give you more slots before you can equip that thing, or unequip some of the stuff you already have to try to equip, you know, this one that might benefit you more.
I do like that for the sake of build customization, you know, quote unquote build customization, where you are sort of customizing your play style based on what you have available to you, but having to make those choices of like, okay, do I want this more powerful one? It's going to take up more slots, or do I want a more balanced build of things with like to take up less slots, things like that. And I appreciate when games do that, because I don't usually want everything. I want to have to make those tough choices so I can kind of feel like I have some sort of agency in how my character is playing.
Yeah, and I like the limits on this. Like, I like that they put in those limitations, because I just think it makes things more interesting that way. So it's not like you can just keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrading, you know? Like, you have to be very, very thoughtful about what you're doing. And some of it is like very, very impactful, because like I got one of these and it was like I had to get rid of everything else I had just to use this one. But this one gave me one more hit point, which when you already only had 3, it was like, okay, getting an extra one of those is huge. Like that was a huge thing. So it's like, yeah, I obviously want to do this, especially a player like me that's like, you know, traditionally not as great at these games. So that was a huge benefit. But I had to sacrifice seeing my own status, like my own health bar. Like I knew I had another one, but I had to sacrifice the ability to even see it.
That's tough.
And sacrifice the ability to see enemies' HP.
Okay. That is not worth it to me then. That would be...
It was tough.
That'd be a hard choice. But having the extra health, you're like, okay, at least I'll last longer, but I also am losing so much information, at least until you unlock more slots. That's cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That is a tough choice, especially early on.
Yeah. Well, I was figuring earlier on, it's like, to me, I was like, it felt like a better sacrifice for me specifically. And then as I get more, like, I'm going to add that, the enemy one back right away.
Yeah. Like as you either unlock things or you get more comfortable with the play style, and you can be like, okay, I know I can survive this area on 3 hearts. Let me get more information. Yeah, that's
exactly
cool. And you can probably make builds that are like a glass cannon type thing, or just a really tanky build where you're not doing as much damage, but you can take more. And the opposite of that with the glass cannon, where it's like I only have like 2 hearts, but man, I can deal out like double damage. So I just need to last as long as I can.
Exactly.
That's cool. One thing I did see that I wanted to comment on, because I did watch a video of this earlier, somebody like playing it, or just somebody reviewing it, and they had commented on a accessibility features I thought was really interesting, and I think is maybe the right way to do it if you're going to have some sort of difficulty modifier in a game like this, which is having something that was, I believe it was called boss decay. And what that is as you're fighting, because they were saying like what you were saying, which some of these bosses are like very challenging, maybe the most challenging part of the game, at least from the combat perspective. So what they have as an accessibility feature, if you wanted to make it a little easier on yourself, is every time, if you turn on boss decay, every time you die to the boss, it will also like lose a fraction of its health for the next time you come in. So it'll be a little bit weaker.
That's interesting.
Every time it kills you, basically, so that you don't just go in this infinite loop of death against it. That's not something that is on by default, but that's one of those things. If you want to just turn down the challenge a tiny bit, that's a way to do it without feeling like you're robbing yourself of the experience, without the thing in Another Crab's Treasure where you just literally give yourself a gun and shoot everything.
And one-shot everything.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's cool, though. I like that. That's a really smart feature. Huh.
Yeah, it seems like a fair way to do it without it feeling like they made it too easy,
Yeah. I will say one thing about this game. This is a pro tip. You know how people like to tell you to touch grass?
Yeah.
Don't touch grass in this game.
Oh, grass bad?
Grass bad. Very bad. Don't touch grass.
Why grass bad?
It's bad. It's bad, man. Bad grass.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just bad grass. I learned that
despite what
way.
everyone says, don't touch grass.
Don't touch grass. If someone says touch grass to you now, you know that it is definitely a hazard to your health that they are insinuating.
Yeah, my response will be grass bad.
How dare you? Yeah. Speaking of things that are, difficult and stuff, can we talk about hack and climb?
Oh, yes.
What the hell, man?
Did you? I saw you jumped on it. I was hoping you got to play a little bit of it.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Let me tell you, I didn't get very far. What?
All right. I'll start by saying well, you can talk about like the details of it, and then we can jump into it if you want to.
Yeah, tell us what it is.
Okay, so Hack and Climb was developed and published by Kodachi Games. Came out on May 12th, 2025. Or sorry, the demo did. Whoops, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah,
came out on January 20th, 2026. 20th. Yeah. And this is where it's like one of those rage-inducing games, sort of like Getting Over It by Bennett
this
Foddy.
Is some Bennett Foddy shit.
Yeah, that kind of energy. But you're not a person. You are a series of weapons.
Yeah.
Or you're a single weapon, but you can change what kind of weapon you are like as you go through the level. And the way that it works is completely like momentum based. So for instance, in the demo, you start as like a battle axe, and your options are where am I holding the axe? Basically, like is my non-existent self holding the axe, and then which direction am I flinging it? So like, do I want to grab it by the handle or the blade and fling it which direction? And then it will show you as you kind of aim, like where you will possibly land. If it's close enough, you'll have like a green marker when when you're definitely going to actually stick into something. But even that is a little like, iffy, because if you like nudge any direction like at all before you like let go, you won't hit your mark and you will just go plummeting to the bottom again. So it's the same type of game where you're trying to reach the top of a thing, and it is extremely against you. The environment is definitely against you doing that, and it makes it very hard to achieve that. I was able to beat the demo, which is basically just climbing the first mountain, and it was real hard. I think it took me an hour and a half to get up that mountain. And it was just so much like I beat maybe the first area of it real quick. So I was like, okay, this isn't going to be that bad. And then you start throwing in different things like, oh, now there's wind. Now there are now there's water and waves that are pushing me away if I fall. There's these rafts I have to attach myself to as I go through. And again, I don't have movement as like normal movement or anything where I can jump around or anything. I'm a weapon that I am just flinging myself towards things and praying sometimes. At a certain point, you can find a rifle or a bayonet, rifle. And
that shoots, right?
What's good and bad about it is like the axe has two sides that are sharp, and so it's easy to stick into things. Whereas with the bayonet rifle, I only have the tip of my bayonet to stick into things, so I have much less, like it's much more difficult for me to actually plant myself into something. And the shooting is only to propel myself like one time in the air before I have to reload when I'm holding still, like on the ground or like when I'm stuck into something. So that is like finding a way to utilize that was really challenging. That is ultimately what like helped me win the fight. I don't know how I could have done it with the axe once I got to the top of this mountain, because I literally had to like propel myself with this gun to get to the very end of it. And it was like just such an interesting experience that I was really hoping you played it too, so that you could understand at all what I'm talking about.
Yeah, man. I only had so long to play it. And as I only got out of that chasm, like that very first starting spot to, and that took me quite a while to get out of there, to immediately fall right back down and get so mad.
Yep.
Oh, I had to be on very good behavior because my kiddo was just getting out of her bath. And that's why I was like, okay, I've got like 15 minutes. I can do this real quick. I'm going to give it a shot. I finally get out of there. And then like right as she's like, coming over to read a book before we put her to bed is when that happened. And then I was like, God, son of... Okay. Nope. Daddy's fine. It's all good.
Yeah.
All good.
Probably not a game to play around kids because there will be swearing.
Yeah. Oh man. Big time. Like I found this more rage-inducing than to me than Bennett Foddy was. So
it's because it's like even in its simplicity, it's so complex because every weapon is different, reacts differently to things, and so you're essentially playing. If Bennett Foddy had different characters you could play as, and they all played differently, it's such an interesting concept. When I first downloaded the demo and I was like, okay, I'll just try it out. Like it probably won't be anything like super crazy. I was so impressed by it, by just how unique it was, and carrying this idea of this, I don't know what the exact, I guess, precision platformer kind of thing. I know there's there's another name for it in the streaming community, like a rage bait game or something. I don't know what the whole thing is to it, but as this type of game, I just thought it was really cool what they did with it. And having just this complete physics-based thing where you are weapons that can only do certain things just felt really unique to me. And it made me want to play more. And honestly, I probably will end up picking this up ultimately. It's got only 20 reviews on Steam right now, so I don't feel like a lot of people know about it. So I would encourage you to go out and try the demo, which is still up right now. If you like those type of games, like what was the other one, like Pogo something, the Pogo stick one, Pogo Stuck. Oh my god, that made me so mad. That's one of the
I remember
angriest I've been in a game. Period.
I feel like that you played that one God, I swear it's been 8 years or something.
It truly feels like that.
I still remember how mad you got at that.
That's because I don't usually get that mad, but this one, the Pogo Stuck is Pogo Stuck Rage with Your Friends is the official name of it. And I believe
you raged.
It came out 2019, so that means it came out 7 years ago.
Okay. And, I wasn't far off.
Yeah, so you were close. And I know we played it when it came out because we were streaming it at the time. And whoo, this doesn't feel like that type of rage inducing. This one just feels interesting. And maybe it's just the pixel graphics aren't as goofy as you on a pogo stick that just kind of makes you, I don't know, more angry. This one just feels cool. It's like a puzzle. I need to solve it. Pogo Stuck just felt like it was purposefully trying to make me mad, and it succeeded.
Yeah, they did succeed pretty well. I'm always going to have a fondness for Pogo Stuck.
I have a love-hate relationship with it. Would I play it again? Absolutely. But will it make me mad again? Probably also absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But Hack and Climb, big recommend if you like that type of game. Whether the other ones make you mad or not, I think this one has a very kind of soft launch into that sort of thing. But I know that there's going to be so much more complexity to it because literally the first level already felt very challenging. And I don't know how many there are, but if it gets any harder than that, which I know it will, I could see this being a really cool stream game of just trying to get through one level during a stream.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Power up!
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, do us a favor and throw us a like, a follow, share the episode of the podcast with folks who love indie games so we can get more of these game recommendations out there and support indie game devs. We also have our YouTube channel at youtube.com/nerdsloth, where you can catch us playing more indie games, or check out our top 5 and top 10 series for more indie game recommendations, because we believe there's an indie game out there for everyone.
Get ready!
Let's talk about some more indie games we played this week, starting with another game about climbing called Cairn, or Cairn, or Cairn. I don't know, it's like a Scottish kind of thing, isn't it? I think so. This is a brutal game, man. This is brutal.
I did play this one too.
Yeah.
A little earlier, and oh man, what a good game though.
It is so good. It is also like breathtaking. You know, I've seen like screenshots of it. I've seen trailers of it. It doesn't really do it justice than like when you were actually in the game and can move around in the space and see how vast of a world they built for you to like move around in and climb this mountain. It is gorgeous. And like, I love the idea too that with this, so like the point is you are this woman who is trying to be the first person to climb this specific, very dangerous mountain, Mount Kami. And she's got there's some other story threads and stuff going on, obviously, that she's got some issues and things that she is very much avoiding. Also, she has a cool little robot helper going with her called Climbot, and I love that little guy. He's the best. What I really like about this, in addition to the things I already said, is the idea that they don't telegraph the places to climb. You can literally climb wherever you want to, but there is like, you know, real consequence if you are climbing a part that, you know, obviously doesn't look very climbable. You know, if there's not a bunch of like natural things jutting out and spaces for you to put your hands and feet and stuff, like there's no like status bar, there's no like stamina or gauge or anything for you to watch and stuff. You were having to go from like the cues of like her arms or legs or something starting to shake before she loses her grip and then starts to, you know, slip or something. And it's just, it is so wild, but like, and that sounds very difficult, and it's not an easy game per se. In fact, I think it's a little difficult in that way, but very cool. And man, did I have a couple brutal falls.
Before I made it to the top, I had one brutal fall like during the first like actual like mountain part you climb, because I didn't realize. So I was waiting for those tells that you were talking about, like the shaking and like the kind of blacking out, where the screen starts kind of blacking out around you for an indicator. But I just made like a bad judgment call and tried to grab too high at something. And instead of me getting those warnings, I think I just slipped, or my character slipped, and she fell so far because I was so confident I was going to get up this thing that was like 12 feet tall or whatever. I was like, okay, it's not that tall. It's whatever. I'm not going to put a python in there. And so I didn't. And then when I fell, she screamed and got so bloody. I lost like half my health. I was like, oh my God, like this is, I barely, like I fell what I didn't consider all that far, and I almost died. So it's like, I can't treat this like peak. I need to think about
this
it
is not peak.
In a more realistic fashion.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I want to be way more careful this time, because if you do plant your pythons incorrectly, they don't break. So you don't have a reason not to use them. And your Climbot will claim them back and give them to you. Yeah. So when you are putting a python out, like it has this little bar that goes by, and you press, if you're using a controller, like you press X when it hits like the little center. Sweet spot of it, wherever that is. And if you get it in perfectly, like I said, it doesn't break. If you don't get it in perfectly, then it will. The one time I didn't, it just went in crooked. And when I tried to pull it out with Climbot, it just came back as scraps. So that is a way it can break. But I'm sure if you get it off enough, it will probably just break on contact. So you don't want to waste them, but you also don't want to reserve them completely like you do in Peak, because in Peak you don't get them back, but in this game you do. So it's encouraging you to be careful and play it safe. That's also a way, especially if you're like climbing up a high mountain, that you can just get you can belay off of the mountain and get stamina back, like recover your full stamina. And it also is like, okay, cool, this is my checkpoint basically of the mountain. So if I do fall, I'm only going to fall to here. At least if I fall like from a little higher up, if I went too high and fell down, it would probably, pull it out or something because of how realistic the rest of it has been. So I don't want to risk that. But yeah, I'm just saying use your Pythons. They can be an infinite currency if you use them correctly. And you absolutely should, because the game will surprise you sometimes and you will fall when you're not expecting to.
Oh, yeah, you will. Oh, it's brutal. It's so brutal.
It was so cool, though.
Yeah, I like to, like, when you rest, you go into your tent and stuff, like, whenever, like, she takes damage and stuff, and even sometimes just from climbing and not from, taking a fall, but, like, her fingers and stuff will just take damage, and you have to, like, examine each finger and, like, bandage them up. Just, like, the little things like that. Things that make it feel, like, a little extra brutal. Like, just the blood coming out of her wrappings and stuff like that. And it's just, like, the game's, like, way more serious than I thought it was going to be. But I like it for that reason. It just gives, like, so much more weight and gravitas to the story, to what you were doing as a player, trying to guide her. Because, like, yeah, when she does fall, that scream she gives when she hits, it is blood curdling. So kudos to that voice actress. Woof.
Yeah, you definitely feel like, oh, I've done wrong.
I you feel terrible.
What I also really appreciate, something I was noticing in some of the slicker looking mountains that don't have as clear a path, the sun, it's also like the day is, the sun's moving, like it's going from day to night. There's a cycle. And as the sun moves, the shadows that cast on certain areas of the cliff will change. And so sometimes you'll see points that you can grab that you wouldn't in certain sunlight, or that you just didn't have the right angle on. And then you're like, oh, okay, cool. In this light, I can see I've got an easier way up here. But like you were talking about, it's not like a rock climbing gym or something where there's like clearly marked areas or anything, or like red, blue, whatever. It's like you have to just like zoom out a little bit, be like, okay, let me path my way, or let me like plan out my path here. See what the mountain looks like, what looks like the most reasonable way. And sometimes it's like, okay, I can go up this far. They need to just like go left a little bit, then up some more, and then right. Like you have to figure that out, because if you don't, like I didn't sometimes, you'll get to a point where you're like, okay, there's literally no other way I can get up from here. It's like all smooth for the rest of the way up. So I need to just like go down a little bit and shift over. And I just found that so intriguing, because it literally is you having to find your own way up this mountain. There is not a like set trajectory, a set path. And as you explore around, there are interesting things you can run into too, like some things that are, I found one like little statue that when I just sat by it, it just gave me like a really nice overview of the environment around me. And there's also some certain things you can pick up along the way, like little, some of it's for cooking purposes, like you can find like little plants and stuff that you can cook to help you, survive. I made myself chocolate milk. It was great. That really helped me live. It helped me survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how it shows you your path also.
Yeah, that's
the
cool.
path that you took when you like reach the top, where it's like a whole line, and it also shows you spots where you fell, like those little like red X's. Yeah, like
yeah. I'll just disclose there's a lot of X's. So yeah, a lot of little skulls and X's. So yeah,
you do have to like make little camps. There's these little spots in the mountain that are marked with like a painting. And
it's
that's
like carved into the rock, and
and you can set up camp there, and that's essentially your save points as well. So if you do die, that's what you'll go back to. If you exit the game and save as you exit, then it's a one-time save that it gives you like wherever you are. So it's not like you can cheat the game and keep going back to that save over and over again. If you did it like when you were mid-climb or something,
Yeah, that's smart.
So yeah, they made a lot of smart decisions. I also just saw that this was the team that made the game Fury, F-U-R-I, that I really enjoyed, the bullet hell.
Yeah, I was just going to say that this is the Game Bakers.
Yes.
They made that. They made another one.
Haven.
Haven. That's right. I couldn't remember the name of it, but I just remember that one looking really cool. Just like the landscape of everything. So it makes sense. Like they're pretty well known for that kind of stuff. So
and the rest of them were more like fantasy or kind of like cyberpunk, but this one is just like straight realistic.
Yeah.
Well, with robots. So
with robots. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're almost there. We're almost there. We'll have a client bot soon.
I hope so.
Let's move to Escape from Ever After. I won't talk like too extensively about this because I have talked about this game a little bit in the past from like one of our Steam Next Fest talks. But this is the game from Sleepy Castle Studio that was kind of like a Paper Mario-esque. Like to me, it feels very Paper Mario meets Fables, like the Bill Willingham comic series, where you are playing as like these kind of like Fable characters going through like these different sort of like, fables and books and stuff like that. But like, because the world gets taken over by like this greedy mega corporation, headed up by the CEO, which is like the Moon. And
Mr. Moon.
Yeah, you basically have to like get a job and work for him. And you, your first thing is like you get sent out to look for one of their workers, Sherlock Holmes, who's gone missing. And that kind of kicks everything off. Did you get to play this one a little bit?
Yeah, I played the demo of it.
Great, yeah.
Which does start you off there. I don't think that's where the game officially starts, but the demo does.
Yeah.
And so that's what I can speak of as you're talking about it. But I didn't get to play that much. I maybe played like 30 minutes of it, if that, just because I wanted to get an idea of what it was like. And you're spot on with the Paper Mario comparison, especially with what I love in these kind of games is the attacks or defense where you have to like react to it. You have to press a button to either complete an attack or to like get a perfect defense, things like that. There is an accessibility thing in this also that lets you like turn that off completely if you just want to play like story mode, basically, where it does them automatically. But I could never. Like I would feel like I was robbing myself of an experience because that's like one of my favorite parts about Paper Mario and Super Mario RPG and things like that is the reactive combat.
Yeah. And kind of like those games too, like there is a bit of platforming in this too, and a little bit of environmental puzzle solving. And then you get into those turn-based battles and stuff. One thing that I really like about this is just like those battles themselves. They just do a lot of things. There's just little nuances, little differences than things I've seen before, like how some enemies will stack straight up, almost in a way of like, you and I like to talk about Monster Train too, like the little fungus guys that will stack on top of each other. Like some of the enemies will do that here. And I just think that's so interesting. So it's like if you do an attack in a straight line, it's not going to hit the enemies above them. So some of your attacks will actually be focused to go in like a cone, like to go straight up. So it's like, there's different variations in attacks and stuff that I have not seen in a turn-based game like this before. And I'm like, oh, that is just so cool. There's also like little hidden combos and stuff like that as well, that you can do. Like, the one guy, I can't remember his name. Is it Flint is the main character who throws the shield?
Flint is the main character. Flint Buckler, I think his name is. There is
like a thing where you can do, he's also got the dragon guy. I don't remember what the order is, but like if there's like a group of enemies or something, there's like an order where I'm trying to remember if like one, I think it's if the front enemy is on fire and then Flint throws his shield. I think it's like if it goes through and his shield, hits everybody, I think it carries that flame through the rest of them and then it will light everybody on fire.
Cool. I didn't know that.
And it's like not something that's telegraphed. It's like these tiny little things that they put in there. And it's just like really cool that they do that kind of stuff. Like I was actually just really impressed by all of the thought and detail put into this game.
Even in the short time that I played it, it had a lot more to it than I expected it to. Because surface level, you can look at this and be like, oh, it's just going to be like a Paper Mario clone, something like that. But I think this actually plays with a lot of the aesthetic makes sense because it's storybook characters. So it makes sense that they are paper-like in that way. but also they are playing so much with the mechanics of the battles. Like you were saying, one instance would be like if an enemy has a shield in the front, at least a wooden shield, then you want to put your dragon up front so he can burn it. So he'll like use his flame, burn the shield, and then the buckler guy can hit people that have weapons or spears or something and knock those out of their hand. Finding ways to utilize all of the characters, and they're not just like, the next person in line to do the attack or whatever. Yeah. There's that mini puzzle aspect of it in the battles too, not just outside of them, which I thought was really cool.
And that those attacks have additional purposes, aside from doing damage, just like you said, like removing an enemy's weapon or something. So that is fantastic.
The magic or the additional moves in this game are powered by MP, but in this case, MP is mocha power. So they use coffee to power their to give them the energy to power their attacks. It's great.
They love their coffee. Yeah. Oh man, it's a really good one. I do think this game is gonna sell pretty well.
I hope it blows up because this one,
I do too.
It deserves it. Like from the visuals to the sound to the gameplay, I think this has just got a lot going for it. So I hope people give it a chance.
Honestly, the last 2 weeks, I feel like we've had games that are kind of like taking the best, I don't know, like the core root of stuff that like Nintendo used to be, like that heart and life that Nintendo had before. Whereas now they feel pretty soulless with every decision they make and like making better games. Like last week it was Big Hops was like a quintessential feel good 3D mascot platformer in the vein of how we used to feel about 64 and up era games, right? And then this one really just going to the heart of like what made those Paper Mario games feel good. A franchise that Nintendo's completely basically thrown in the trash. So
so this one, I think the closest comparison would be like Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which is at least visually and maybe even gameplay. Like I haven't played that game, but just as I'm looking at it in comparison, that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah.
But I think, like you were saying, there's a lot of franchises, or not even franchises, but there's a lot of like games that Nintendo used to have and be like, were the pioneers of initially that they've just kind of been not treating well or just not like presenting any new ideas with. And that's where these indie creators come in. They'll use the like root idea of that and just make something that is playing all the right notes and then adding more to it to make just a beautiful song out of it that Nintendo is maybe not refusing to, but just is playing it too safe to make these like kind of decisions. And that's where it's great to see these indie creators come in and actually take risk because they don't have as much at stake as like a giant corporation does or whatever. So it's nice to see them willing to do that.
Yeah, like Megacorp and the Moon, who took over. That's becoming
like
Nintendo.
Ever After Inc., I think is the name of the company.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's talk about another tiny team that made a little game. This is Gridle. So tell me about Gridle.
Okay, so Gridle so I've been going like deep into auto battler, not deep, but every time I see a new auto battler, I at least want to give it a chance now because I used to shun them. I don't anymore because I've played some really fun ones. Gridle was one of those examples. This was by Seyloj, I think, Seyloj. I probably butchered the name, but that's how I can pronounce it. And this one is an incremental idle RPG is what it's like saying it is, but in reality, it is just like it's an auto battler, but I guess the idleness of it all is, the incremental aspect of it all is that you are just steadily improving your party as they go, but it's like a constant ongoing thing. Like it's nonstop fighting. Like your party's always out. You are, the one character you have is always out, and you're kind of going through different levels. I think there's up to like 50 something levels, and then there's probably I think an endless mode after that or something to what I've heard. but I just played the demo of it, and the way that it works is as your character is attacking, like you'll get through enemies, and you as the player can also click too, but you're just literally the mouse like icon. You can power that up too, and it'll literally show like your arrow icon being like, okay, do you want to power up the amount of damage you're doing with that, or the amount you're healing your your party or whatever. And so you can both, as you go through this, incrementally power up your party, your mouse, so you and like how much effect you can have on these battles, and get upgrades to things, and also get more party members. Like you start with one, and it's pretty expensive to unlock new slots, I guess up to 4 slots. I had only gotten to 2 by the time I stopped playing this demo. But with that, it's one of those where like you're not having to do a lot. It's not as interactive as some of the other like auto battlers we played last year and really enjoyed. What was the one? I always forget Forest the name Heroes? Of the fantasy one. Yes, thank you. Forest Heroes. It's not as interactive as that, so you don't have as much impact, I guess. But if you just want to be clicking, or like with touching the controller, I think it was like right stick, left stick. So you're just like doing those things to be kind of affecting the battle as much as you can. But then there are times where you need to go like switch to an upgrade or something, or like as you progress to the next level, sometimes it'll be too hard for your hero to get through. So he'll just like die over and over again. So it does let you like go back like to however many levels you need to. Once you reach a threshold, like once you get to a next level, you can always go back to previous levels if the ones you get to are too hard for your hero to handle yet to power up. So it's one of those that's like I don't know that I would continue playing it myself just because of how little actual interaction I have. So this one truly does feel like what I would consider an idle game.
Yeah.
But I know there's people who love those, and I think this one probably does a good job of what those generally try to accomplish. You are feeling like you're becoming more powerful. There is a progression system that makes sense to me. I could see, like, I was getting into it, like the flow of it as I was going through. There was just a certain point where I was like, it's just like this, forever and ever and ever. So I don't know that like it can really like get its hooks in me. But if you're into that type of game and you just want like an incremental experience and you want to see your party power up, I think this one does a really good job of that.
And it's pretty cheap too, like $5.99.
It's like $5
retail
$6
price. Yeah.
And I think that's a really fair price for what this is offering, because I think it's probably a really good version of this. It's just not my cup of tea usually, but I can definitely see the love put into it, or the love put into it for the idle clicker type of game.
Yeah, I get you. Let me, on a similar note, let me tell you about one that I thought was really not going to be my cup of tea, but ended up being like, I got way more into it than I thought I was going to be. So this is Mech Builder 3D, and this is basically just kind of like it's a mech building sim, but like mech models, like if you were going to go to a store and buy like a Gundam model or something, you get these like little kits, and then you have to cut the pieces out. Then you assemble the pieces like a puzzle. And then when you're done with that, then you have like free range to kind of pose it the way you want to. And like, you really have a lot of control over like the poses and stuff that you can do. I was actually pretty impressed with that. And you can like paint it, so you can color it like whatever you want after the fact, and then save it before you move on to the next one. So it's kind of one of those ones where I was just kind of like, okay, I'll give this a try. I believe so it was a solo dev that created it, Don Pachi or Pachi. I might have butchered your name. I'm so sorry. Who sent it to us, and then also sent us a couple keys to give out to listeners. So I'm going to do that I'll probably do that off of a YouTube video here soon. Because I'm going to play it a little bit and load it on YouTube, and then folks that interact with that, you'll get a chance to win a key for the game.
This looks super interesting.
Yeah.
I had no idea about this. So when you listed it as something you played, I was like, what was that? And then, or what is that? And then as I'm seeing this, as you're talking about it, like I can see just how like zen that can be in the same way that when you buy a model and you paint it and you style it or pose it however you want to. I think it's like giving you that same sort of I guess not adrenaline. What am I looking for? Endorphin hit where it's
that
like
dopamine hit.
It's where you're like, oh yeah. I feel good feeling. That I made this thing. And because it's so tactile and you're literally doing the cutting and everything yourself, like I imagine, I don't think this game is like a virtual, what is it? The VR game? But like it seems like something you could also play in VR and just like feel that full experience of creating a model. Because the physics seems like it has like
it's got some physics,
physics to the point where it's like as you're cutting things out of there, like they will fall off of the thing, and you can have a pile that you're starting with of all these parts, and the parts are interchangeable. It seems like with other models, which I thought was pretty cool. At least some of them seem to be.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It was just like one of those things where like I started it, and I'm like, maybe I'll do one and then see how it goes. And then I did the one and I was like, okay, all right. You know what? Maybe we will do one more. And then I'm like, oh man, I've got to do one more. Like this, I like this.
And as a big Mech fan, like I imagine like that's all the more appealing to you.
Yeah, it felt pretty good. It does, like, I will say this, it is a game that looks like fairly rough. It's like visually and stuff like that. Like it's definitely like the UI and everything. The graphics are definitely like, not like the highest end thing, but it's like one of those things that as soon as I started doing it, it was really easy to overlook and just start like doing the thing and playing because like I got into the zone, man, and I was having some fun with it. So, I definitely recommend this one. I think it's a really fun time, especially if you are someone that like this is kind of a pastime for you. If you do like building models, man, are you going to enjoy this one? For sure.
And there's also a really cool looking Godzilla mech as I'm looking through the screenshots here. So
they've got a few. There's like a Ghidorah one in there too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. I did I built the Godzilla looking dude. That was actually like the second one I built. And so that was the one that I built because like the first one I built was not very complex. So I was like, maybe. The Godzilla thing was the next one. And that had so many pieces. And I was just like, okay. I'm going to do one more. We'll do one more.
Is it like, are there unlockables? Is that how you're getting some of these new parts or how does that work?
Yeah, it was like you have to finish one before you can start the next one. So like you finish one kit and then you were given a second kit and then you finish that kit. So that's what the
progression is. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So
cool. So as like a pressure-free kind of experience, this seems like a really zen type of game.
Yeah, and it had just some nice little like lo-fi music going. I was in the zone, man.
Nice. You should like send a screenshot of your Godzilla. I just want to see it.
I'll get a screenshot of it next time I log in. I want to paint it too so that it looks cool because it's still mostly just the generic paint like that it had. But yeah.
I might mess around with this one I just want to build Godzilla at least, maybe Ghidorah even.
Hey, interact with the video when I make it, and then maybe you can win.
Oh yes,
you can win the keys. Yeah,
heck yeah, I'm in.
What's Breath of Life? You've got that on here.
Yeah, so it's basically like if you wanted to play Dark Souls as a goth girl, like that's kind of what this is. But I'm really oversimplifying it because there is a very complex story that I didn't even understand like as it was going at first, because this has a charming jankiness to it. Like I don't know like if this team Satyr Entertainment has developed, like it looks like they've made a few other games, but like this one feels indie and it's like a presentation, and I don't mean that as an insult as much as like it's not like super high quality whatever. It is what it is, but it plays well. Like it still feels good like doing the moves and stuff and the dodge rolls and whatnot. So yeah, it does play like a Souls. Like you are in this dark fantasy land that some sort of artifact was found by this kingdom, and using it once, it seemed like the king had to sacrifice some of his blood or something to it, and that like replenished the land. But then he got some kind of draw or addiction to it and kept going back to it. And it would like hurt him a little bit more, or like I don't know, like demonize him or possess him a little bit more every time he would use it. Almost like it was a drug to him, and it was cursing the land the more he used it, to the point where like he became seemingly some sort of like demon overlord, and then the whole land was like shadow at that point. And this group of, I think, mages got together and entrapped the land in some sort of like protective bubble so that the shadows could not leave like that area, and then did a whole raise of the land, like burnt it all just to try to like cleanse it. And what you were doing, like you are this like spirit, this dark incarnation that was summoned by these wizards to go and recover this artifact, the breath of life. Once you do that, then they can like truly bring the land back to its proper state, but it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to get without fighting through and like, you know, battling that evil like leader, evil king or whatever, that overlord. So that's like the basic setup of it. The way that it plays is like a Souls, like you have your dodge rolls, you have your basic attacks, you're customizing weapons, you know, you've got the whole blacksmith thing where you can build new weapons, power them up as you go, and there's a magic aspect of it. I didn't get to use any of the magic, but in the description of the game, it was like magic has a cost, and only, you know, such and such understands what it truly is. So every time you use a spell, it will cost you something. So I don't know if that's like just it's talking about mana and whatever in like a fancy way, or if literally when you use magic, it's hurting you in some way or like whatever. So I didn't use any magic, or I didn't have any at my disposal in the time that I spent on it. But the way that it seems to progress is you're kind of going to different, it's not open world, I don't think. You're going to different zones and clearing them out of the like demon possessions that are there, or the, you know, spirit possessions, whatever, the shadows. And it's sort of just like repeating that. So you're going to like, you know, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, things like that. It looked like there were like 50 plus zones that you could go to and do that in. So it seems like not as a connected world in the same way that Dark Souls, or like definitely not an open world like Elden Ring is. But as you're progressing through these zones, you are becoming more powerful, like getting your items, artifacts, whatever, to help power yourself up to go to the next zones. As you're cleansing those, it seems to be like unlocking other things as you go through it. So it's more of a like contained arena, like fighter type levels, not fighter, but arena levels where you're going through just playing the action RPG aspect of it. So it's like simple. Okay. But I think there's good fun to be had here, especially for fans of Souls-like games and like dark fantasy games. I've seen like a lot of different items you can pick up, like obviously a ton of different armor sets. You've got your health potions, your magic, your MP potions, whatever. So there's a lot here that I didn't get to really play around with. But I as a fan of Dark Souls, or just Souls-like games in general, this is one that appealed to me, so I wanted to at least try it out. And it seems pretty cool. I don't have a ton more to say about it because I only played like 30 minutes or so of it. But what I did play, I really had fun with.
I mean, you had me at Goth Girl, so.
Yeah. The jankiness of it that I was speaking of, you'll get over that really fast. If you like care about that at all, which to me, like I've played super simple games just because I'm more into the gameplay than I care about the graphics of it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is one of those where I think like if you can get past that, I think there is a lot of complexity to this. And so it kind of feels like if you think of older like computer RPGs or CRPGs like Might and Magic, like that series, not Heroes of Might and Magic, not the tactical one, but like just Might and Magic where you're first person, you're getting all that stuff and all those collectibles and whatnot. Like that's what this feels like, but as a Souls-like shell sort of thing. So I think this has like a lot of charm to it. And I'm curious to see like what the reception to it's going to be when it comes out, which I think was today, actually, the 22nd. Yeah.
I was looking to it like one of their other games that might be semi-similar, but like it's all done in like low poly though, called Tale of Dark Lands. and it actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, that one does look cool.
They sort of have a genre that they like to sort of stick with, huh?
Yeah, and it seems like there's playing around with different styles of like visuals. So yeah, that one does look cool too.
I'm gonna wish list this one actually because it looks pretty cool. A short price point for that one too, $7.99 on sale right now for just $4. So
wow, yeah, and that was made last year, February.
Yeah, so
2025.
Dang, they've been working hard, real hard.
Yeah, I wonder how much this game resembles the current game.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was wondering about that too.
In just a progression of it.
Yeah,
I'd be curious to find out. Didn't know about this one.
Final round.
Let's start our lightning round. Just a few indie games we wanted to talk about real quick before we get out of here. I've got 3 that I want to bring up real quick. One is another one that I did get to play, but I just want to talk about it real quick, just sort of like more of the concept and then what my experience was. This is Face Interrogation. This was from Odale Studios, another one that the developer sent to us. This is kind of like a horror, psychological horror, choices matter kind of thing that is very creepy. And that's why I want to bring it up because like I like the premise a lot, where it's almost like a cyberpunkish sort of future where you have been hired by somebody to interrogate this serial killer about this girl that has gone missing. But like this guy's, it's just like his head that's left and it's attached to this like cybernetic thing that's chained to the wall. So you're like asking it these questions. And then when you like find clues or something in something he says, you go to this like computer and it will pull up that dude's like memories from whatever he was like talking about. Like if I wanted to dig deeper on like he said a certain person's name, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to know what he knows about this person. So then I can slot in that person's name in this computer. It'll open up this other room that I walk into, and that acts as like think of like X-Men Danger Room. Like it creates like a hologram essentially for me to like walk in and observe and kind of see what I can see within this guy's memory. But like stuff gets corrupted very, very quickly. Like you find out this dude's memories are corrupted and like that stuff starts bleeding into maybe your own mind. I don't know. Like something weird is really going on here and it gets very creepy and scary very fast. So very fascinating. The one thing I do have to say though is like I ran into the weirdest bug I've ever run into in any game I've ever played in my entire life, where for some reason, and I don't know if it's because I had my controller activated first before another game, but then like I turned it off, set it up, put it away. But for whatever reason, I could not move with WASD. But I had to use like the mouse to like confirm any choices I made. But I could only move with the joystick on my controller. So like I was having to use the joystick to move, but then use my mouse to like confirm things, which was
weird.
Yeah, the weirdest thing I think I've ever encountered as far as a bug goes. So I have no idea what would even cause that. So yeah, like I exited, tried to go back in, and it still did that. But this was the demo that I was on, so I'm assuming that is not going to be a full game issue, and it's not. It doesn't even have a full release date yet. This is coming out sometime in 2026. So I absolutely loved the idea of it. But yeah, I just had to share that because that was so weird. I've never seen a bug like that before.
That's interesting. And the fact that it lasted even after you restarted the game.
Yeah. I have no idea, man. No idea. The next one I want to bring up, I can't pronounce it, but you and I are both going to try. So it's PVKK, Planetenverteidigungskanonenkommandant.
Planetenverteidigungskanonenkommandant. Yep.
Yeah, that game.
All right.
So it is kind of like a simulation sort of game where you are this guy or gal, I don't know, you are someone who is a human, who is a regular person, who is in charge of this giant cannon to fend off like an invasion. At least that's what we think. obviously there's some weird stuff in this game. Like there's some weird propaganda things going on the TV. There's some inconsistent things going on. There's some creepy stuff going on. But like it's the backdrop of you being like this soldier kind of dude, like in this bunker in charge of this gigantic cannon, making sure things are running, shooting at stuff if you have to. But for the most part, it looks like doing like all these other things. So it feels a little bit Papers, Please with like some other stuff in it. And when I say Papers, Please, like that's I guess a far off comparison, but just in the idea that it's one of those sims where it's like a task oriented sim kind of thing, I guess is where my head's at. So it just looks very interesting. And the reason I wanted to bring this up too, and how I got onto it, is there was there's like a website organization, I don't know, someone that did a study on all of the games on Steam, and they created this thing where they they just got all kinds of data and everything. But they also, as part of that data, found out what are the games on Steam that are like the absolute like outliers, the most unique games. This is number one as like the most unique, no other games quite like this game based on their research and everything. So that's how I got onto this. And I was like, oh, okay, I want to check this out. And yeah, it's weird. It's very weird and looks really interesting.
Okay.
One more that I want to bring up that's coming out sometime in 2026. I don't know when. It's called Trivia Deal. It's a roguelike trivia game. And my God, if ever a game was made for me, it's this one. Because you know I love me some goddamn trivia.
You do love your trivia.
Oh my God, yeah. There is a demo available, so I'm going to have to do that soon and try it out. So making it a roguelike, I need to understand how that works. But two, I'm very excited. So yeah, I will report back on this.
Okay, there's one game I want to talk about that I did play, and then 3 others that are coming out that I am looking forward to. So real quick, the one I did play was Mochi-O, which is
Yeah, what is that?
If you imagine like a virtual pet kind of situation, but your virtual pet, it has the appearance of a hamster, but it's actually a super powerful like weapon of war. And the way, so you're having to take care of this thing, like it opens with you getting to see its previous like caretaker offending it in some way and getting sliced in half by a chainsaw or a saw appendage that
oh
it
my
had.
God.
And so you're like, okay, so you're brought in by the general, like this character who is like, okay, well, you saw the videos, so you know to be careful, but you're going to be the one taking care of Mochi-O now. Make sure he stays happy, and you're going to go out and use him to battle. And when you're back, just make sure he is fed and that you show him love and respect. Every time before you go into a battle, you have to pet him. And the more you pet him, like the more sort of resources and bonuses he starts the next battle with. It is a sort of tower defense kind of roguelite shooter thing where it's almost like things are flying from the right side of the screen to the left, and you just have to destroy all those things. With Mochi-O, you're kind of like holding him in your hand like you would a hamster, but you're seeing all these like literal weapons like sprout from him. And as you're gathering the seeds that these enemies are dropping, that's how you are like getting experience and leveling up and like choosing like any kind of survivor kind of roguelike thing, like choosing whatever
like
out of 3 you want. Whatever upgrade you want, like weapon more powerful, like more spread damage, etc., etc. And your goal is to just keep them from destroying the town or passing the force field. Again, it's from from right of the screen to the left of the screen. There is like a clearly marked red line that you cannot let them pass. And so it's very simplistic as far as the battles go, but I did find it really fun in the time that I spent with it. I beat the demo, and it just has like a really charming sort of humor to it as well. Like obviously a game like this where you are using a hamster, a robot hamster as a weapon can't take itself too seriously, and this doesn't. And I just thought it was a really cute, kind of cool little game. And one I honestly might spend more time with because I did sort of enjoy the tower defense aspect of it. And I bet that it has like some complexity to it as you get into later levels that I would find enjoyable. So yeah, this one's just a really weird one that I tried out and had a lot of fun with. Mochi-O, and that's Mochi-O.
I immediately need this to be an anime or a manga of some kind because the story there is just too good. This little hamster is basically a weapon of mass destruction. That's just too good.
And it's got like the anime appearance to it too. Like the general is this pink-haired anime girl, but with the general hat on. And
that's so fun.
The way that the humor of it's fun because it's like she's telling you like how to like level up and everything and upgrade, and she's like, yeah, make sure to collect the seeds that the enemies are dropping. And you're like, your character's like, what do you mean seeds? And he's like, like seeds, like all enemies drop. And you're like, doesn't make any sense. All enemies don't do that. She's like, yeah, sure they do. And so you just kind of move on from there.
Accept it.
So it's like, basically like it's breaking the suspension of disbelief by being in on the joke. And I appreciate that about the game.
Sure.
Yeah. That's the one I did play and play through the whole demo. Go try the demo. It's fun. It sounds weird and it is weird, but it's a good time. And ones that I want to talk about are a couple that are coming out soon. One of them I'm very excited about. I'll save that one for last. The first one I want to talk about is, or the first one I want to mention is Arcadium. And this one is a Arcadium Space Odyssey. Sorry, that's the full name of it. This one is a top-down bullet hell like spaceship shooter, like twin stick shooter. Nice. And it's a roguelike also. So I just like this type of game in general. And so this one just looks like it has all of the things to it that I enjoy about this type of game, plus being a roguelike and being able to customize your little ship and stuff. Like that just looks fun. And bullet hells are very appealing to me. And especially when it's like, okay, now it almost seems like a bullet hell / bullet heaven, because then you become this gigantic or this weapon of just like a flurry of bullets going everywhere. And yeah, just seeing those like crazy builds come together is always fun to me. And I just like this space games like this. So that's one of them. That one is coming out on the 26th of January. The next one, and this one I think you'll get really into also, is called The Spirit Lift. It is a retro horror deck builder roguelike set in a haunted hotel in the 90s. And you're playing as like a group of teens who are trying to survive a night in this haunted hotel. And I like the visuals of it. I love roguelike deck builders. And I like the aesthetic of just this haunted hotel that they have going on. So it just looks like a good time. And I'm real curious to see how that one plays out. It comes out on the 27th, but the demo is out now. So I'm definitely going to try that one out. And the last one that I wanted to mention is one that I know you're excited about too, or at least you were excited to see me play it, which is Don't Stop Girlypop.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah.
That one comes out on the 29th. And that is the crazy, like fast-paced FPS that is just styled with like 90s, like
it's like the Y2K
aesthetic. Yeah. And it's just all bright pink, like bedazzled, like literally like you're powering up your gun by bedazzling it and stuff. And it just like looks super silly, but also like has kind of a fast-paced, hardcore actual action to it. So that blend is really appealing to me. And I'm curious to see how it plays out. So I will definitely be grabbing this one too.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that game, I was like, you have to see this. This looks so cool.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I want to put all the little sharks and stuff on my gun. I just like the idea of designing your gun. I don't know if it plays a part in like how effective your gun is, but I bet it does. And that's even more exciting to me.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it looks so fun just to be able to do that. And I love the aesthetic of it and just how over the top it is with all that stuff. Oh man, it's going to be cool. It's going to be really cool. I'm hoping at least those last two, Spirit Lift and Don't Stop Girlypop, that maybe those will be topics next week. So hoping so.
I do hope so. I have downloaded both the demos, so I'll at least be playing those before next week comes.
Hell yeah.
Game over.
Well, if you had a good time listening to this episode, stick around for the bumper to learn how you can help support the show and all the things we do here at Nerd Sloth Creative. You can also check the show notes for our link tree, which will take you to our social media, Discord, merch store, and all the other cool stuff. Get in touch with us, though, and let us know what indie games you've been playing and help us elevate these games so we can help support the indie game devs that made them. But that's game over for us. My name's Chris.
I'm Joseph.
And we'll continue on the next episode.
Continue.
Indie Game Arcade is recorded and produced by Sloth Creative. If you're looking for more gaming content, head over to youtube.com/nerdsloth for indie game let's plays and recommendations. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/nerdsloth, where you can select a pledge and receive access to hundreds of hours of bonus content from everything at Nerdsloth Creative. If you're an indie game developer and would like us to review your game or explore other opportunities, send an email to nerdslothcreative@gmail.com with the subject line Indie Game Arcade. Thanks for listening, and keep supporting indie game devs.